New year, 2021. Who's excited that 2020 is over? I'm so pumped. It's 2021. It's a new year. It's another number, right? 2020 just has that like icky vibe. You know when you say it, like 2020, right? It's 2021. Like you have to say it excited. Like 2021, okay? And let's talk about 2020 for just a second, though, okay? When we look back at 2020, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened, right? There's just so many things. Who knew? Remember, do you guys remember Starving to Serve? Remember? We were like the day everything shut down. We were supposed to go to Starving to Serve over at our Vista campus and all have a big overnighter, lip sync battle, eat at midnight. Like that would, but all of a sudden things just shut down. And then we're like, what the heck, right? And so many of us were like, oh, all right, 2 weeks shut down, and then we're back. And then it was like 2 weeks more. And then it was like 9 months. And then we're like, what the heck? It's 2021 and it's not over. But, crazy stuff happened. And I think for all of us, we look back at 2020, and we can all list things that have happened. Now, when I say crazy, I don't always just mean bad, okay? Because 2020 was full of a lot of things. Like for me and my family, I've kind of shared with you guys, we're expecting baby number 4 in like 4 weeks. I know, which is crazy. My second child is right there. Olivia, say hello. Yeah, she's eating a Rice Krispie and Doritos together, which is gross. But no, we have baby number 4, so just things happen, right? And for some of us, we look at 2020 and we say this was the worst year ever, right? But for some of us, we look and go, well, 2020 was actually like, it wasn't bad. It was weird. It was odd. Like Disneyland is still closed, but like it wasn't. So for all of us, we have a different experience with 2020. But here's what I want to do. What do we all do? Or maybe not all of us, probably more the old people, right? But when it comes to a new year, what do we do towards the end of the year before? We write New Year's resolutions, right? So I thought nothing better to do tonight, but we're going to write some New Year's resolutions. So on your way in, we had paper and pens. If you did not get one of those or both, put your hand in the air. And we've got some people walking around, going to pass those out. But here's what we're going to do. It's so simple to start off tonight, to start off New Year, to start off 2021 together as an Elevate family, because that's what we are. We're going to write some New Year's resolutions. So as soon as we have all these passed out, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes. You guys can talk to each other, talk about your resolution, whatever, kind of see what your neighbor's writing and then make yours better. That's how we should start the year. But no, we're going to write these resolutions, and we're going to then talk about them for a little bit and kind of go through that. So if you need pen or paper or both, I think Josiah's like, I don't know what he's doing. Okay. Yeah, we've got, all right, right here. Awesome. But that's what we're going to do. So if you've got your pen and paper, what do you guys need? Pen and both. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay. But if you got yours, we're going to start some music. DJ Double Easy Ethan over there. We've got 2 Ethans over there. We're going to play just some music. Yeah, let's have some fun. Yeah. We can pump it a little bit. All right. But yeah, so think through 2020. Think through your life. What the heck? I don't want that. Well, I don't want it. So take a couple minutes. Let's give like a minute and a half. I don't know, something like that. And then at some point I'll know what that means, and then we'll go from there. All right, cool. You got a minute and a half. Talk to your neighbors, whatever you need. Think about 2020. Let's write these resolutions. What do we want from 2021? Yeah. Okay, I'm done. You got a little bit more time. Think about it. Let's get crazy with these. I'm gonna learn how to moonwalk this year, so it looks really good. And then you spin.
Yeah, I give that love, I give that love, I know the reason why I was. I give love to all of my people need love, I give some. I give love to all of my people need love, I give some. I give love to all of my people
All right, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and then DJ Easy Ethan is going to bring it down. Nice. Okay. All right, so you got your resolutions? Anybody still writing? Anybody forget how to write? That makes sense. Yep. Again, mostly the old people. Okay, so finish writing if you need to, but if you've got a resolution, I'd love to hear it. What do you got? What do you got? Ari, I'm so curious to know what you wrote. I'm so curious to know. What you got, Bradley? Get straight A's in school. Wow. Wow. I don't even know how to spell A, but all right. Peyton, you have one? Oh, my daughter has one, yes. Okay, give more Slurpees out. I was hoping it would be make your bed and stop yelling at your dad, but that's next year. Okay. Yeah, Ernie, what do you got? Dump some kids in the water at Whitewater. Amen, brother. Yes, Sarah, what do you got? To be full? To get a full. I thought you said to be full, just like all the time. I'm full. So it's a front layout that you turn 360. You do it 360 times? Oh. Degrees. I got it. Okay. What else? Yeah. Ari. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Does this have anything to do with Minecraft? What? Teach who? Emma how to play card games. Okay, like Go Fish? Nerds? Oh, okay. That's the one where you hit each other? Cool. Yes. Not wear a mask anymore. Oh, my gosh. You're speaking my language. Yes. Prove your brother's wrong. Okay, what else? What do you got? Anybody else? Come on. I need like 2 more. That's it? None of you other fools wrote anything? Oh, yes. Oh! Josiah's not good at video games. Just kidding. He's great. You're great. I'm just kidding. But hey, so here's the thing. When it comes to resolutions, right, a lot of us, as we kind of look over the past year, our resolutions are based on things that maybe didn't go right last year or things that we want to fix from last year. Am I right? Like, that's most of them. Like, when we kind of go through, prove our brothers wrong, maybe this past year we didn't get to prove them wrong very much, like, because whether your parents didn't believe you, whatever happened, I don't know. Emma didn't know how to play card games, so we're going to fix that. Like, we look back and we go, okay, what happened last year? What are things that we need to fix? But here's what happens a lot of times. When we look at our resolutions, which this is not wrong, what I want to do is I want us to talk about how we look at the way that we live life, how we look at our goals, how we look at things that we want to change. And what I want you to look at, I want everybody to look at your list right now. Look at it. Stare at it. Okay? Stare at it. Don't look at me. Don't. All right, keep working. But when you look at it, I want to ask this one question. Are your resolutions me-focused, or are your resolutions based on loving others? Now, some of you might be, mine are all about other people. Some of you might be like, well, mine are a mix of both. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with any of these, right? Like Sarah, when she said, I want to be full, it's like, me too. You know what I mean? So do a full. Sorry. But are they centered around what matters most, or are they me-focused? Okay? And again, neither one of those is wrong right now. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to kind of go through this and think about it. So look through your list one more time. Look through it one more time. I know you've already done it. Look through it again. For many of us, when we make our resolutions, it's based off of 2020 being the worst year of our lives. Right? For many of us, as we write maybe some of the resolutions we didn't want to say out loud, maybe the ones that we didn't show our friends next to us. But when we look at our resolutions, when we look at our goals, the direction that we want our life to go, the things we want to fix, for a lot of us, it was based on the fact that 2020, for most of us, was the worst year ever. Right? For most of us, we look at that and we go, man, 2020 had all of these problems. 2020 had all of these things that tore my life apart. 2020 had all these things that nobody was there for me. 2020 had all these things that I wish never happened. And so I want to base my goals, my resolutions, the things for 2021 on the things that I wish I could have fixed last year. But when we write those, I'm going to ask you one more time. Are they me-focused, or are they centered around what matters most? Because as we look at 2020, when we look at maybe saying it's the worst year ever, we can look at a lot of people in the Bible who had the worst times ever, right? If you were with us on the weekends a little bit ago, we went through the story of Job, right? And Job had a lot of crappy things happen. He was a great guy who followed God, but he went through an incredibly terrible, difficult, awful time where everything was taken from him. His body was turned to sores. Like, all these crazy things happened. So we can relate that to 2020, right? But Joseph, we can look at him. He did amazing things, and his brothers betrayed him and sent him off to become a slave. Then he did good things. Then he became a prisoner once again, and life just kept kicking him in the face. And we could look at that story of Joseph and go, man, that sounds a lot like 2020 and the things that I went through. I feel like all year long I just got kicked in the face. For many of us, our sports were gone. We had no sports. We had no extracurricular activities like dance or things like that for most of the year. Maybe we got it back later. Everybody's different. For many of us, we didn't even have our friends around because we weren't allowed to see them. For a lot of us, if you don't have family that lives right here, we didn't get to see family this year, maybe for Christmas or Thanksgiving. We look back at this year and we go, man, what happened? So what we naturally do is we base what we can do in the future on fixing those things. But what I want us to really do tonight is I want us to refocus our plans. I want us to evaluate what we're prioritizing this year, knowing what we know now, knowing all of the bad things that happened last year, knowing all of the hurts, all of the disappointments, all the things that were taken from us. We're now going to look at 2021 not just as, hey, I want to fix all those things, but we're going to change our perspective of how we can have a better life, okay? Because there's a lot of people that went through life before us, right? There's a lot of people who had some pretty crappy times. But here's the thing that I want us to be ready to do is we write our resolutions, okay? For some of us, when we look at these resolutions, we say, there's nothing that's going to stop me from accomplishing these. Okay? Because 2020 was the way that it was. Now I'm going to fix it this year. And there's nothing that's going to make this go away. And that is an incredible drive. Okay? That is an amazing thing to say. No matter what, I'm focused. That's so good. Okay? But there's one exception I want you guys to make. There's one exception to that drive and that hustle and that saying, I'm going to make 2021 so much better than 2020 because of all the stuff that happened. The one exception I want you to make is that when God shows up in your life, I want you to be willing to say, you know what? These goals maybe were a little me-focused. These goals maybe were a little about what I want, about me and all the bad things that happened in 2020. But when God shows up and says, hey, I want you to go this direction in your life, no matter what's going on, you're willing and ready to jump in and say yes. Do you see what I'm saying? We can have drive, we can have goals, but what can happen is if we're so focused on those and saying nothing will distract me, nothing will take me away, you might miss an opportunity where Jesus shows up in your life and says, hey, you're doing an amazing thing here. You've got the drive, you've got the hustle, you've got the passion, but I want to redirect that over here. To not just be about you, to not just be about making your life better after 2020, but I'm going to bring you over here because this is going to affect so many more people. This is going to affect somebody besides just you. And what I want the exception to be is that you are willing and ready that when that happens, not if, when that happens, that God shows up in your life and says, I've got another plan. You're not so focused and so tunnel vision that you go, nope, nothing, I'm out of here. Nope. That you're willing to say, God, wherever you need me, I'm ready. And I want us to look at an example of that, of when people did that. If you got your Bibles, go to Matthew chapter 4, verse 18. Matthew chapter 4, verse 18. As we know that Jesus had a group of people called the disciples, yes, who were the followers, who were his best friends, who were his homies, his compadres. They were his small group. They were whatever you want to call it. But these guys didn't one day just walk up to Jesus and say, hey, I would like to follow you. No. Happened a little bit different. So Matthew chapter 4, verse 18, it starts this way. It says, as Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. Okay, check this out. So here's the deal. As fishermen, they probably had goals, right? Like whatever year, like they had goals, and they're like, hey, you know what? I want to catch the most fish we've ever caught. I want to catch the best fish. I want to get a promotion on the boat. I want to do this. And like they had plans. I want to start a family. I want to do this, have kids, whatever. Put money into my savings. Maybe, learn what Instagram is and do that whole thing. Like who knows what their goals were, right? But in that, they were focused. Right? As Jesus was walking along the Sea of Galilee, he saw these guys who were focused on casting their nets into the lake. They had a plan. They had goals. They had vision. They had drive. To be a fisherman, this wasn't a great job, but this was something they had to do to survive. So to survive, you have to have drive. You have to have passion. Maybe not for the job you're doing specifically, but you got to have drive and passion to make sure that you survive, that you provide for your family, that you do a great job at it, okay? So they had this motivation. Let's say that it's January 1st. They wrote their resolutions. We're going to have the best fish, the most fish, the biggest, but whatever. They had plans. They had drive because they're doing it. They're focused on catching these fish. But here's what happens. Come follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. So all of a sudden, they're focused, right? Maybe for some of us, it's working on doing a full 360 in dance. For some of us, it's teaching somebody to play cards. For some of us, it's getting straight A's. For whatever that is, we all have different goals. These guys, their goal is to fish. That's what they're doing. And all of a sudden, this guy shows up, and he says, come follow me. I'm going to make you fish for people. And right there, they could have been like, dude, I'm busy. I'm focused. I'm doing my thing. No distractions. But it says next, at once they left their nets and followed him. At once. It didn't say, hey, they debated, they talked about it, they weighed the options, they asked, hey, Jesus, what do we get in return? No, they knew that Jesus, the Messiah, the Savior, our God, showed up in their life and said, come follow me, let's go, let's do something for others. And immediately they stopped the goals that they had for their life, which there's nothing wrong with the goals they had. There's nothing wrong with them being fishermen and providing food for their family and for the people they lived and having a business. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But God said, I have a bigger plan for your life. Stop what you're doing. Let's go. And immediately it says, at once they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in a boat with their father Zebedee, preparing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. Immediately, they had plans, they had drive, they had passion, they had focus. They had maybe a bad year before that. Maybe they had family problems. Maybe they had people disappoint them. Maybe they had a terrible business year. Whatever they had, doesn't matter, it was in the past. They had a drive, they had a vision, they had a goal, and Jesus showed up in their life, and they said, I'm in. Let's go. So as you write your resolutions, as you look back on 2020 and all the issues and all the crap that happened, and no friends maybe, no sports, no family issues, personal things, whatever happened in 2020, as we write our resolutions and we say, I'm going to do this for me, I'm going to make sure that I'm better than last year, I'm going to make sure that the things that let me down last year don't happen again. The exception I want you to have is that when Jesus shows up in your life, you go, yes. And you don't miss out, because as we've talked about so many times, God has a better plan than you could ever imagine for your life. God doesn't want you to just catch fish for yourself. God says, I want to make you fishers of men, to go fish for people, to go out into the world, spread the love of Jesus, take care of others, because I'm going to take care of you. But if you're so focused on me or so focused on the goals that I wrote down, you will miss it. You will miss out on something absolutely incredible for your life. You'll miss out on something that's monumental that you don't even understand yet, that I don't even understand yet. I want you to have drive this year. I want you to have passion. I want you to push forward. I want us as a community to change San Marcos, Escondido, North County, California, the United States, the world together. And never quit. But the exception I want you to have is that when Jesus comes knocking, when Jesus taps you on the shoulder and says, come follow me, there's something better. That you're not so caught up in me, that you're not so caught up in what I have planned for my life, that you miss out on the bigger picture. You see, in just a minute, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite some resolutions. Maybe you keep the ones you have, but there's something I want you to take into account as you write these new resolutions. We're called to do two things in this world. And Jesus answered this so incredibly. If you got your Bible, once again, Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. You see, Jesus was asked, what is the most important thing that we can do in life? What are the most important commandments? What are we called to do? By guys who are trying to get him caught up in his words, by guys who are trying to trick him. And he answered it so incredibly, which makes it what we do so simple to follow. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36 says this, Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and prophet hang on these two commandments. So as you look at your resolutions, as you look at who you're going to become this year, how you're going to fix 2020 and 2021 is going to be better, as you're going to go out and do your thing, as you write these goals, what I want you to do is do a couple things. One, look at them and go, man, I could get rid of this one. This one's not important. Maybe for you, all of the ones you wrote are important, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But then I want you to put a filter on all of them and maybe write some more if you need to. Is every one of your goals for your everyday life, for your 2021 resolutions, for how you act with your parents, for how you act at school or online school, whatever? Are you doing two things? In everything you do, are you loving God and are you loving others? And if you have resolutions that don't fall under those two things, not one of them, but both of them at all times, let's scratch it off. And let's make 2021 better because we're living the way that God has called us to live. You see, so many times as I look back on 2020, I think all the issues that I had, right? All the emotions that I went through, all the times where I felt like something was hurting me and not working out for me. But what's crazy is I had this thought a couple weeks ago. I think it was right around Christmas. I started looking, and I'm glad she's here, but I started looking at my kids. I said, you know what's crazy is not once this entire year have I really grasped and thought about what they're going through. Have we as a community thought about what somebody else went through in 2020? Are we willing to turn 2021 not just better for us, but better for somebody else? Are we willing to look at 2021 and say, you know what? I saw where this person struggled. I saw where this person needed help. I saw where this thing happened to somebody else. And I want to make a resolution to help them, to fix it for them, to love them. Or our resolutions, is our 2021 just about things for us? Is it just about us? Are we so me-focused that we're unable to see where we can love somebody else? The band's going to come back up right now. And what we're going to do is they begin to play for the first part of this next song. I want you guys to look at your resolutions. And one, if you need to, cross some out. But if you need to, write a couple more. And if you don't know where to start, I want you to close your eyes and think back on this year and think of one person that you know struggled. Think of one person that maybe had a similar 2020 to how you felt all year, but maybe we haven't acknowledged or thought about that they went through something like me. Instead of thinking 2020 was all about beating up TJ, maybe 2020 was also was beating up other people. Maybe 2020 wasn't just affecting us, but it affected everybody that you see around you and your family and your teachers. And the people that maybe we don't like all the time. Maybe 2020 was hard on them too. And not just the worst year for us. And so what I want us to do is as we go into 2021, I don't want us to just be me-focused and me-centered and looking at the things that we need. I want us to really look at how we can love God and love our neighbors, love others, take care of somebody else besides just me. And be willing that no matter what you have going on this year, that when Jesus comes knocking on your door, tapping you on the shoulder, saying, hey, you ready? That you jump in immediately. You don't hesitate. You don't have to debate and weigh the options. But you be ready to follow Jesus. So right now, as we begin this song, I want you to look at your resolutions, look at your goals for this year. Make sure they fall under loving God and loving others. But think about at least one person or one family or one thing that you can help love and take care of this year. And when you're done with those resolutions, I want you to stand up. And we're going to begin 2021 worshiping our God together. So the band's going to start playing. Let's take care of those resolutions and those goals. And remember to love God, love others. And when you're done with that, let's stand up and let's worship.